Welcome to Afterlife Message, where we explore incredible stories of second chances, the afterlife, and the mysteries beyond. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and click the bell icon so you never miss a moment of these fascinating journeys. Let us begin the discussion.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about near-death experiences.
Oh, wow.
And we have this really incredible account that I think you're going to find really fascinating.
Okay.
From a guy named John. He's a farmer from, actually.
Oh,
yeah, he's a farmer. And he kind of unexpectedly became an expert on dying.
An expert on dying.
Yeah, well, that's what he calls himself, at least.
I like it.
So
he's had a near-death experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's so fascinating is that, you hear these stories
Right.
of people coming back and, reporting these journeys that they've been on.
Yeah, and they're all so different, but, there are all these, common threads.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like similar sensations, imagery that they use to describe it.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if there's something more to it than just, just a dying brain.
Than just the brain, kind of misfiring or something.
Exactly, yeah.
So John's story actually starts out really ordinarily. He's out checking on his goats, just, another day on the farm.
Okay.
But he notices that his goats are acting really strangely.
Oh.
Yeah, they're kind of skittish around him.
Mm.
Almost like they sense something different about him.
Like they're sensing something.
Yeah, and he's never really noticed this before.
Like they can sense that energy almost.
Yeah, like an animalistic sixth sense or something.
Yeah, I love that.
So later that day, John goes to work at this local fitness center.
Okay.
And he's doing bicep curls.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, he gets this really intense tingling sensation in his arms.
Oh, wow.
And he said it felt like they'd completely fallen asleep.
Okay.
And then, boom, he finds himself transported to another dimension.
Wow, that tingling sensation.
Yeah.
It's like a hallmark of a near-death experience, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. I mean, that's what's so fascinating is that you hear this over and over.
Right.
And, some people think it could be like blood flow or oxygen levels in the brain as it's shutting down.
Right.
But it's so interesting that this precedes this shift in consciousness.
Totally.
So John, he describes this other dimension as kind of riding these waves.
Okay.
But not like water waves.
Okay.
Like waves of pure energy.
Energy.
Yeah. And he realizes that he doesn't have his physical body anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's this translucent form of himself.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And he said it didn't feel scary at all. It felt actually liberating.
That out-of-body experience, right?
Yeah.
We hear that a lot, too.
Yeah.
It makes you think about the connection between, the mind and the body.
Exactly.
Maybe they're not as tightly linked as we think they are.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then it gets even wilder. He encounters this massive golden sphere.
Okay.
That's radiating intense light and love.
Wow.
He describes it as like a million suns packed into one.
Wow.
And emanating these waves of pure love and acceptance.
So that golden light is a recurring theme too, isn't it?
It is. And what's so crazy is that this imagery, you hear it from people of all different backgrounds and cultures all over the world.
It transcends everything. It's like universal.
It is. It's like this universal thing.
Wow.
And this is what really blew my mind. He sees all these universes connected to this golden sphere, like a cosmic web.
Wow.
It's like he was given this glimpse of the interconnectedness of everything.
And this aligns with some of those theories about the multiverse.
Yeah.
Right. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. And it's like, could there be, other dimensions existing that we just can't perceive?
Absolutely.
So all of this is happening, right? This profound out-of-body experience.
Right.
While back in the fitness center,
Yeah.
there's a team of medical professionals that are frantically trying to revive his lifeless body.
I was going to say, are they trying to bring him back?
They are, yeah.
To a reality that he's not even a part of anymore. It's so ironic, isn't it?
It is. It's like this crazy juxtaposition.
Yeah.
He's experiencing peace and connection.
Yeah.
And they're, desperately trying to bring him back
to this one.
To this reality. Yeah.
Wow.
So 8 hours later, John suddenly snaps back into his body.
Okay.
And he's completely disoriented.
Oh, yeah.
And confused.
Makes sense.
And he actually calls it interdimensional confusion.
Yeah.
which I think is the perfect way to describe it.
Imagine trying to put that into words. It's like trying to explain a dream.
Exactly.
But 1,000,000 times more intense.
Right.
Yeah.
So now the big question is, why was John brought back?
Yeah. What was the purpose?
Exactly. Like, what was the point of this whole experience?
Oh, wait.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, okay.
So 8 months later, John has another collapse.
Oh, no.
And this was probably due to, complications from the medication from the first collapse.
Right.
But he doesn't actually remember this part.
Okay.
But thankfully his wife was there.
Okay.
And she was there to witness it.
Oh, good.
So in the middle of the night, John, he sits up in bed.
Okay.
And he just starts shaking his head.
Oh, wow.
And saying, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Oh, my God.
His wife's like, what is it?
Yeah.
What don't you believe?
Right.
And he says out loud, the reason I came back.
Wow.
So his
I
wife,
was there to hear it.
she was smart. She grabbed a notepad
Oh, good.
and said, why did you come back?
Right. What did he say?
So John reveals that he was told in that other dimension
Okay.
that he needed to come back
Yeah.
and be a conduit of hope for those who have lost it.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
And I know, right?
Yeah.
He gave me chills when I read that.
I did bet.
And what's even crazier is that his first collapse
Yeah.
happened in a fitness center
Right.
where help was readily available.
Yeah.
Like, what if that had happened when he was out in the pasture?
Out with his goats.
With his goats,
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
It's almost like the timing was deliberate.
Right. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does. It's like, was this orchestrated
Yeah.
so he could come back and fulfill this mission
Wow.
to be this conduit of hope?
It's almost like fate had a hand in it.
Right.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about,
Yeah.
the workings of the universe and
The bigger picture.
yeah, and destiny.
Totally.
I mean, this whole story just, it makes me think about consciousness and other dimensions.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
It is. And the purpose of our existence.
It really makes you question everything you thought you knew.
Exactly. And that's what I love about, these deep dives.
Yeah.
It challenges us to think bigger
To expand our minds.
and consider possibilities that we might not have entertained before.
Yeah, to embrace the mystery of it all.
Exactly. So speaking of wonder and possibility,
Yeah.
John talked about seeing all these universes connected by this golden sphere.
Yes.
What if those other dimensions aren't just some abstract concept?
Yeah. Right.
What if they hold clues to understanding our own reality?
That's a question that's been pondered for centuries.
I know.
Hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to know more.
So there are some theories out there. One that's really relevant is the idea of the multiverse.
Okay.
You've probably heard of that.
I have.
And this theory is suggesting that our universe is just one of many
Whoa.
that exists.
Okay, hold on. Multiple universes.
Multiple universes.
That's a lot to take in.
I know, but it's pretty exciting.
It is. It kind of sounds like science fiction.
It does, right?
But you're telling me this is a legitimate theory?
It's a serious scientific theory, yeah.
So how does this multiverse theory connect to, what John saw?
Well, some physicists think that these other universes might exist in different dimensions.
Okay.
Or different planes of existence.
So they're separated from us.
Yeah, they could be separated by
Okay.
an unimaginable amount of space and time.
Okay.
Or they might even be coexisting with our universe right now.
So they could be all around us, but we just can't perceive them.
Exactly.
Okay, that's mind-blowing.
Right.
So if these other universes exist, does that change anything for us?
Well, that's a good question. And honestly, we don't have a definitive answer.
Okay.
But some physicists think it could have huge implications.
Like what?
For example, it might explain some of the weird things about quantum mechanics.
Okay.
Like how subatomic particles act.
Okay.
They can be in multiple states at the same time.
Right.
It's so strange.
It is.
And they think that maybe those different states are actually happening in different universes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So this multiverse theory,
Yeah.
John saw these different dimensions as interconnected, like a cosmic web.
Right.
Could that be a reflection of this interconnectedness?
Of the multiverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
And then that raises the question of could we travel between them?
Right.
Is that even a possibility?
I mean, some theoretical physicists are looking at that. They're researching things called wormholes.
Wormholes.
Yeah, have you heard of those?
Yeah.
They're like theoretical tunnels through space and time.
Okay.
So like imagine...
So like a cosmic shortcut.
Yeah, exactly.
To another universe.
Yeah. It's pretty far out there, but...
It is. It's a possibility, and it would take incredible technology to do something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Way beyond what we have now.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Okay, let's bring it back to John's experience.
Okay.
He also talked about perceiving time and space differently.
Oh, yeah.
In this other dimension.
Right.
Like it wasn't linear.
Yeah.
The way it is here.
Right.
It was almost like time didn't exist.
You know, that's something we hear a lot with near-death experiences.
Yeah.
This idea that time is different in these other realms.
It's like maybe our perception of time is just this construct of our physical reality.
Exactly. It's just how our brains make sense of things.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying that time might not actually be as fixed and linear as we think it is.
Exactly. Einstein's theory of relativity showed us that time is relative.
Yeah.
So it's totally possible that in other dimensions, it operates differently.
That's a mind-bending thought.
I know.
Like, what if we could tap into those other ways of perceiving time?
Totally.
Would it change our understanding of life and death?
I mean, that's a question that's been pondered for centuries, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. And this is why I love these deep dives.
Me too.
They always leave me with more questions than answers.
But they're good questions.
They are.
They're the questions that make you really think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But let's not forget about, you know, the really grounded aspect of John's story.
Okay.
He described this incredible sense of peace and love.
Yes.
Coming from that golden sphere.
It's like he experienced pure, unconditional love.
Yeah, like in its purest form.
Yeah.
It makes you think about the power of love to heal, to transform.
Yeah.
And to connect us to something greater than ourselves.
It's like a universal love that transcends everything.
Exactly.
And we know.
It's like maybe love is the key to unlocking those other dimensions.
It could be.
And tapping into that cosmic web of interconnectedness.
Maybe love is the frequency that allows us to do that.
Right. And it's often described as the most powerful force in the universe.
Exactly.
So where do we go from here?
Yeah.
What can we take away from John's experience?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that our perception of reality is limited.
Right.
You know, there might be so much more out there
than we realize
that we can't even comprehend.
Right.
Right.
It's a call to be open-minded, to question our assumptions.
Totally.
To embrace the mystery and the wonder of the universe.
Yeah, and to cultivate a sense of hope.
Yes.
You know, even when things seem uncertain.
Exactly. And maybe, just maybe, death isn't the end, but a transition to something else.
It's a beautiful thought, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like he got to peek behind the curtain for a bit, you know, like a glimpse into this vast interconnectedness. And
it makes you wonder if, like, you know, maybe we all have the potential to tap into these other realms.
What if we all have these, like, hidden antennas?
Right.
But they're just not activated for most of us.
Yeah. And what if we could activate them, you know?
Right.
Like, would it change how we see the world?
Totally. I mean, would we feel more connected to each other?
Right.
To the universe as a whole?
Yeah.
Would it change our fear of death?
Right.
You know, knowing that it might not be the end.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about.
It is.
But let's go back to John's message of hope.
Okay.
Like, what does it really mean to be a conduit of hope, you know?
Yeah.
In a world that feels so full of negativity.
That's a great question. And I think it's about recognizing that hope.
Right.
It's not just this fleeting emotion. It's like an active force.
Okay.
It's a choice we make.
A choice.
To believe in something better.
So it's not about ignoring the darkness.
No.
Or pretending everything is okay.
Exactly.
But it's about acknowledging the challenges.
Yeah.
While still holding on to that optimism.
Yes. And I think John's experience shows us that even in the face of death, hope can endure.
Right.
You know, he came back with this message.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a reminder that there's always something to live for.
Right.
To believe in.
And maybe even something bigger.
Yeah.
That we don't understand yet.
Right. Like something beyond our current comprehension.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, speaking of John's journey.
Yeah.
He talked about this profound sense of connection.
Yeah.
To like all of creation.
Right. Like he saw the unity underlying everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
He talked about seeing all these universes.
Yeah.
Connected to that golden sphere.
Yeah. It's such a mind-boggling concept.
It is. Do you think it's possible?
Yeah.
That we're all interconnected?
Oh, absolutely.
In ways that we can't even grasp?
I think so. And there's even some science that hints at it.
Really? Like what?
Well, have you heard of quantum entanglement?
I have.
So that's where you have two particles, no matter how far apart they're connected. They're communicating instantly.
Wow, that's so trippy.
It is, right. It defies our normal understanding of physics.
So you're saying that these particles are linked beyond space and time?
Yeah, and some physicists think this could extend beyond the subatomic.
Oh, okay.
Suggesting a deeper connection throughout the universe.
So if particles can be entangled like that, could we be entangled with each other?
It's a possibility, right?
And with the universe?
Yeah.
Is that what John was tapping into?
It could be, and it challenges that idea that we're all separate.
Right.
It suggests this more holistic view that maybe at a deeper level, we're all part of one consciousness.
Like we're all threads in this giant cosmic web.
Exactly.
Woven together.
Yeah. I love that image.
And then it makes you think about the ripple effects.
Totally.
Of our actions.
Like everything we do affects the web.
It's a reminder that we're not just individuals.
We're part of something bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that our actions have consequences.
For the whole web.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that brings up this idea of responsibility.
Right. If we're all connected.
Yeah.
We have this obligation to act in a way. That benefits everyone.
To act for the good of the whole.
Exactly.
And that really connects with John's mission.
Right.
To be a conduit of hope.
It's not just personal.
Right.
It's collective.
It's something we can share and amplify.
Yeah, and use to create a better world.
It's a reminder that we're not alone.
Yeah.
In this journey, we're all connected.
By these invisible threads.
Right. Of hope and love.
Exactly.
And that even in the darkest times, that connection can sustain us.
Absolutely.
It can uplift us, and it can guide us.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thought.
It is.
But, John's journey wasn't all sunshine and rainbows.
Right. He did talk about struggling to adjust
to
the limitations of time and physicality.
It makes sense, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine experiencing that freedom.
Right.
And then coming back here.
Yeah, where we have all these limitations.
To this reality has got to be tough.
Like, how do you reconcile those two things?
It's a question a lot of spiritual seekers grapple with.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance.
Right.
Between honoring those insights.
Yeah.
And still engaging with the world.
So it's not about escaping reality.
No.
But it's about transforming it.
Exactly. It's about bringing those higher vibrations into our everyday lives.
So finding the extraordinary in the ordinary.
Yeah. And I think John's story shows us that it's possible.
Right.
That even in our daily lives, we can have these moments of awe and connection.
It's a reminder to pay attention.
Be present.
And be open to the unexpected.
Yeah, because you never know when those moments of grace will appear.
Okay, so speaking of unexpected experiences, John talked about that moment.
Yeah.
When he suddenly returned to his body.
Right, like snapping back into reality.
After being clinically dead.
It's a jarring transition.
It is. What do you think happens to our consciousness when we die?
That is the ultimate question, isn't it?
It is.
It's a mystery that we've been trying to solve for centuries.
I know, and science hasn't really given us a definitive answer.
No, but there's some really interesting research out there.
Okay, tell me more.
So one area is the study of consciousness in the brain.
Okay.
And neuroscientists are learning so much about how the brain works.
Yeah.
But we still don't know how consciousness arises from matter.
So are you saying that consciousness is just a product of brain activity?
That's the mainstream view.
Okay.
But there are some who challenge that.
Okay.
Saying that consciousness could be more fundamental.
More fundamental than the brain.
Than the brain, yeah. And they point to things like near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences.
Right.
Even people with minimal brain activity.
Okay.
Who show signs of consciousness.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, it suggests that maybe consciousness isn't completely dependent on the brain.
But if it can exist independently.
Yeah.
Then where does it go when we die?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It is.
And unfortunately, we don't have a definite answer.
Yeah.
But some theories suggest that it returns to a universal consciousness or a source field.
Okay.
Others say it might reincarnate into another physical form.
Okay.
And then there are theories about other dimensions, realms of existence beyond our understanding.
Okay, now we're getting really metaphysical.
I know, right?
It's so interesting to consider all these possibilities.
It is.
So do you think John actually traveled to another dimension?
We can't know for sure, can we?
We can't.
I mean, we can't measure consciousness.
Right.
And near-death experiences are so subjective.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to be open-minded.
I agree.
Consider all the options.
That's what I love about these conversations.
Yeah, I do.
They really push us to expand our thinking.
Yeah. To question everything.
Embrace the mystery.
Embrace the mystery of it all.
And maybe the biggest lesson is to live more fully.
To cherish each moment.
To appreciate life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So John described those other dimensions as being interconnected like a cosmic web.
Yeah.
So what are some of the theories that might explain this interconnectedness?
Well, one that's really interesting is the idea of the holographic universe.
A holographic universe.
Have you heard of that?
I have, but explain it to me.
So basically, it proposes that reality as we see it is a projection of information.
Wait, a projection?
Yeah.
Like a movie?
Kind of like a cosmic movie.
That's wild.
Yeah. So they think that our brains might be like receivers.
Okay.
Decoding information from this holographic boundary.
So everything is just a projection.
It's a mind-bending concept.
It is, but it's gaining traction.
Okay, so if our reality is a projection, what about those other dimensions?
Right.
Are they part of the same hologram?
That's a question that's still being debated.
Okay.
Some say they're different facets of the same reality.
Okay.
Others say they're separate holograms.
So reality could be even more complex than we can imagine.
Absolutely.
It's like layers upon layers.
Yeah, and there are other theories, too.
Okay.
Like string theory.
Right.
M theory.
Okay.
It's a fascinating field of study.
And it makes you think, if we're all part of this hologram, what role do we play in shaping it?
Right. It brings us back to interconnectedness.
Yeah.
If we're all connected, our thoughts and actions can influence the whole.
It's not just about what we receive.
It's about what we contribute.
Right.
And that's where hope comes in.
Okay.
If we can cultivate hope, a belief in a better future, we can contribute to a more positive reality.
Our thoughts can actually shape the hologram.
They could influence it,
That's powerful.
It is.
Okay, so let's talk about the practical side.
Okay.
What does it mean to be a conduit of hope in our everyday lives?
Yeah, I think it starts with simple acts of kindness.
Okay.
Compassion, empathy.
So being the change we want to see.
Embodying hope.
Yes.
In our actions.
Not just our words.
Exactly. Be a beacon of light.
Yes.
Offer a helping hand.
And even small acts of kindness can make a difference.
They can have a ripple effect.
Right.
Creating a wave of positivity.
Like we're all drops in the ocean.
Yeah.
And even a small ripple can create a big wave.
Exactly. And those waves of hope can be transformative.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with this feeling of awe and inspiration.
Me too.
We have explored some really profound concepts.
We have.
But it all comes back to this: choose hope.
Choose hope.
Believe in a brighter future.
Yes.
Be a force for good.
Beautifully said. And you know, you don't have to have all the answers.
Right.
Just take that first step.
Yeah. That first step.
One act of kindness.
One act of kindness.
One word of encouragement.
Because it can create a wave of change.
That's the beauty of hope. It multiplies when shared.
So go out there and be a beacon of hope.
Share your light.
Share your love.
Your belief in a better future.
And never underestimate the power of a single ripple.
You never know whose life you might touch. It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. Like if you were given a second chance.
Yeah.
How would you live differently?
It's a great question to ask yourself.
Yeah.
At any point, really. Like, what choices would you make?
Yeah.
What impact would you want to have?
It really makes you think about your priorities.
It does.
You know, and what's truly important.
Values.
Yeah. And it all comes back to hope.
Yes.
You know, it's not just this fluffy feel-good thing.
No, it's powerful.
It's a driving force.
It is.
It can shape our reality.
It's the fuel that keeps us going.
Right.
Even when things are tough.
It's that belief that things can get better.
Yeah, that we can overcome anything.
That our dreams are worth fighting for.
Exactly. It's that unwavering belief.
That keeps us going.
Yeah. And it's more than just a feeling.
Right.
It's an action.
Okay.
It's that decision to keep moving forward.
But how do we cultivate hope?
Yeah.
When the world feels so bleak sometimes?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it starts with focusing on the good.
Okay.
Even when things are tough.
Even in the darkness.
Exactly. Look for those glimmers of light.
Okay.
Those acts of kindness.
Yeah.
Those stories of resilience.
Those things that remind us.
Yeah, that there's still good in the world.
Right. Surround yourself with positivity.
Yes. Choose to focus on the good.
And it will multiply.
It will.
And be a source of hope for others.
Yes.
Share your own stories.
Offer a helping hand.
Be a beacon of light.
Exactly.
For someone who's struggling.
It's about creating that ripple effect.
A ripple effect of hope.
Yeah.
Like we're all connected in this vast ocean.
And even the smallest ripple can create a wave.
And those waves of hope can be so powerful.
They can change the world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really inspired.
Me too.
You know, we've explored these amazing concepts.
We have.
But it all comes back to this: choose hope.
Choose hope.
Believe in a better future. Be a force for good.
And you don't have to have all the answers.
Right.
Just take that first step.
One act of kindness.
One kind word.
It can make a world of difference.
It can.
Because hope is contagious.
It is.
It's a spark that can ignite a flame.
And that flame can illuminate the darkness.
So be a beacon of hope.
Share your light.
Share your love.
And never underestimate the power of a single ripple.
Because you never know whose life you might touch.
Or what waves of change you might set in motion.